Welcome to the March 2020 real estate market update for the Central Okanagan. My name is Brendan Stoneman with RE/MAX Kelowna. This is the at-home edition of the market update. I've even got my fancy homemade sign here. So working from home, of course, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a couple minutes here and chat about the COVID-19 virus situation and how that's affecting the real estate market and kind of everything else in our daily lives as well. But before we get into that, just want to share with you how this year had been going the first couple months of the year and go over some of the numbers and what we were seeing, and then we'll talk further about what we're dealing with currently, because we're kind of in a different world right now. So to go over the February numbers, we had 283 residential properties sell in February 2020, which was up from 263 the previous year. So we're seeing more sales activity. Active listings, we had 1,931 active listings on the market last month. And that is down from the previous February where we had 2,080 active listings. So fewer properties to choose from, more sales activity happening. Our months of inventory was coming down. So when you lump everything together, we have 6.8 months of inventory. So that's a slight buyer's market. But individual property categories, it varies from property type to property type and even within different price ranges. So down below this video, you'll find additional videos for the single family homes, the townhomes, and the condos if you want some more information on that. If you're watching this on social media, there'll be a link nearby where you can click through to the blog to access all that info. But all in all, when you lump everything together, the average residential property price point was $568,000. That's up quite a bit from last year where we were sitting at $513,000. So we were off to a really great start. The Vancouver market was really starting to hum along. Talking to an agent a few weeks ago, they were seeing multiple offers on a lot of different properties, including one single family home he just sold where they had over 30 offers come in on it. So things were really roaring in Vancouver, and typically our market in the Okanagan is roughly about 6 months behind the Lower Mainland. So we were expecting a really good spring, summer in the Okanagan, and so we'll see how that all plays out. So that was good, and then we started to get there was some uncertainty building in the marketplace. So the Strata Insurance situation broke in late January, where we were seeing condo buildings, their insurance premiums going up dramatically, 200%, 300%, 400% increases in premiums. Deductible levels were rising, so it was creating some uncertainty in the condo market. Actually, I shot a full video about a couple weeks ago. I'll link that down below if you want information on that, if you happen to miss it, so you can check that out. And then we got into the pipeline protests and railway blockades, and people were getting worried whether or not we were going to be able to get goods across the country through the rail system. Government started lowering interest rates, and then the COVID-19 situation comes to the forefront. Now here we are living in semi-isolation and quarantining ourselves and staying at home. So over the last couple, 3 or 4 weeks, it's really evolved, and now it's affecting everyone's daily life and everything that we do. So let's talk about that. So the stock market's taking a beating. A number of businesses are really struggling, obviously, because everyone's staying home. So employees are being laid off. It's having a dramatic effect on the real estate market, of course. So, people's employment's being affected. Now the government is trying to offset some of this by interest rate reductions. There was another interest rate reduction announced this morning. So there's very cheap money to borrow, assuming you can access it. But again, I've had half a dozen clients that were planning on buying this spring. They've all been laid off from work. So we're gonna have to just wait and see how this unfolds. The other scenario here is, when you got your home for sale, you've got a bunch of strangers coming through your house, which everyone's on heightened awareness on, virus transmission and who's coming through their home and who's coming into contact with who. So, all of my listings and, lots of other agents as well, we've got video tours and virtual 360 tours and floor plans and all those sorts of things. I think it's a great way to get buyers, somewhat down the path. But nothing's really going to replace an in-person viewing, especially when people are dropping, $800,000, $900,000 on a property. They want to see it with their own eyes, understandably. A lot of home sellers are taking their properties off the market right now. A lot of buyers are putting their plans on hold because they want to either wait and see how this all plays out, or their employment's been affected. A lot of times when something happens and people are afraid, the natural reaction is to pull back. Everyone enters nobody moves, nobody gets hurt territory. And, you know, and I understand, we don't know what the true impacts of our real estate market are going to be. So there's also been mortgage deferrals, mortgage payment deferrals announced. I've talked to a couple people that have gone down that road. Plan to wait on hold for many, many hours. These banks are swamped with people inquiring. I've also heard that it is not a foregone conclusion that you will actually be approved for a mortgage payment deferral. You have to demonstrate that you've been really affected by the virus. So there's that. And then the province announced a couple days ago some money available for renters, so some rent relief to try to offset some of the financial burden on the renters. Properties that have tenants in them, the tenants can now refuse showings just for safety reasons. So getting access to properties is very challenging. I will say right now, there are still homes selling every day. Properties are being listed every day. There are folks that need to buy or sell because either maybe they've sold their property last month before all this happened, and when the deal closes in a month or two, they're gonna be homeless. So they are out there trying to find a new property to live. There's people that have bought properties that maybe close in a month or two, and they need to get their home sold. So there's still activity happening, but all of the tire kickers, all of the casual shoppers, anybody that's just kind of thinking about buying, they're all on the sidelines right now. So get your property on the market, there's gonna be a lot less activity. It's kind of like having your home for sale at Christmas time. It's only the serious buyers that are coming through the properties, and probably only the serious sellers that have their homes on the market. But one question I've been asked 100 times probably is, what is going to happen down the road? And honestly, your guess is probably as good as mine. We don't know the true impacts of this, how long we're going to be doing this, you know, the self-isolation and quarantining, how long these companies are going to be shut down and people are going to be laid off. We really don't know. We're hoping it's, you know, a few weeks, a couple months, and, you know, come late spring, we're back up and running, but we're just going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. I think if everybody does their part and stays home and we try to get the spread of the virus under control, we'll all get back to our, you know, regularly scheduled lives sooner than later. What I think is going to happen is that the desire to move is not likely going to go away. If you're planning on buying your first home, you're upsizing, downsizing, buying a rental property, that is not likely going to change unless, you know, your finances have been really, really negatively impacted. So I think we'll get through this period of time here while we're all staying at home. And once we come out the other side, I would expect that all that demand is just going to build up. And when things start to return to normal, the floodgates will open. I think we're going to have a really, really busy summer, or whenever things kind of open up. We're going to have a lot of activity in our marketplace. So it's a changing situation. It's evolving by the day or by the hour in some cases. We'll do our best to keep in touch with you with updates. If you have any questions at all, any concerns, you need any help whatsoever, we're absolutely here to help. We're not spending our days out showing properties. It's more trying to just communicate with people, to stay in touch and answer questions and be helpful in this tricky time. We're all in this together. We're all going to do our part, and we're all going to come out the other side, and our lives will return back to normal at some point soon. Hang in there. Hope you guys are doing well, and we will talk to you again very soon. Look forward to chatting soon. Bye for now.